Hey everybody, hope you're having a happy new year. Yeah, today I'm just gonna do a video. There's been some talk in the Slack about a couple of things, but the one I'm gonna talk about today is whether or not we need to introduce a downvoting feature or if flagging is the only thing that we need. And just some thoughts I have on like what the benefits and the downsides are to each of those features and what they imply in the system. So first I'm going to start out with flags. That's the feature that they currently have on Steemit and on Busy. I think as a nomenclature, when we talk about what a flag is, that usually means that there's something that's in the wrong, that's a violation of sorts. Whether it goes against laws or terms of service for the platform. I think that is things like copyright violation, abuse, or inciting violence. Spam, I think, fits into the category of something that should be flagged. I think currently flags, if you hover over it, at least on Busy, if you hover over a flag, it says report a violation. And then if you click it and you go to your activity section on Busy, it says downvoted. I think that's clearly a problem that they're equating those things incorrectly. Currently, since flags are the only way to downvote something, the question is, what does this say about the design of the current system? It says, one, that flags should be used sparingly because it is not a feature that is as prominent as the upvote. It's not in that same area of the bar. They put it up to the top right. It's supposed to be hidden. It's supposed to be something that you only use if something is particularly egregious. It implies that the upvotes, the total number of upvotes, not just on this post, but on every post, should decide the distribution of the rewards pool and the stakes associated with those upvotes, not necessarily flags. I think it implies that flags are not downvotes. If they wanted them to be downvotes, they should have called them that. I think there's a problem that it is labeled as downvotes in the system from a backend perspective that gets shown in the activity. But from a front-end perspective, they're trying to make it more like a violation issue. On the other hand, you have downvotes. So a downvote implies that you maybe just don't agree with whoever made the piece of content or even whoever wrote a comment. For some reason or another, you just don't agree with them. It's not a violation of the platform, of any of those things I listed that could be associated with flags. It implies that it might help curation a little bit, that it's trying to balance out both up and down votes, especially if you put them next to each other in the same way that Reddit does it. And it also implies that there's just a simple disagreement and you want to make that heard in one way or another. Now, if Steem were to implement downvotes, what would that say about the reason they made that change? I think it would say that upvotes alone are not a valid curation method, that we require some level of disagreement and disagreement that actually affects the rewards pool that can help to balance out the equation. And I think it would also imply that people should disagree more often, right? There's a whole button for it now, right? It's right at the same area that you have the upvotes as well as the amount of money that this post is going to make. That says like, hey, if you disagree, you should say something. Let's do that. So here's my take on the debate between up and down votes. I think that there needs to be some indication that a disagreement should not be a flag. I think people certainly abuse the flagging to downvote people for various reasons that I'm not going to get into here. I think there is this idea that like if I want to disagree with somebody, how am I supposed to do that? I think there's an implicit understanding that the comment section is supposed to do that, but because every comment you put out there is an opportunity for you yourself to get flagged or downvoted, there's a little bit of a hesitancy and a fear that a disagreement would be met with retribution. I think that's what makes Steemit sometimes maybe too positive. Someone wrote a post recently about this. So I think that putting a downvote option says disagreement is okay, disagreement is is something that we support to some degree, and we want to make that clear. I do think that there could be an opportunity to add another layer to a downvote or a flag. So maybe in order to downvote, you have to first leave a comment. So you click the downvote button and it's like, well, it's good that you disagree for whatever reason, but you have to let the person know why you disagree. It could simply be that this content is just poorly made, right? Like, that's fine. If somebody uploads a video like this one and you're just like, that was not really well thought out or poorly edited or the sound was bad, I'm gonna downvote it. Do that, but you have to write a comment. I think that could, to some degree, especially if you included reCAPTCHA or some other bot prevention methods, that could allow for all downvotes to be only human based, which would help, I think, when we talk about, you know, armies of bots or whales or whatever you want to call it, downvoting people as retribution. I think when it comes to flagging, then, if you did include downvoting, that you should have some further action needed. Right now, there's a huge problem. I went to click the flag button because I wanted to really test it before I talked about it. And it just registers immediately. And it doesn't ask you why you have flagged this post, like every other social platform. Like, are you flagging it because it's a copyright violation? Are you flagging it because it's abuse? Are you flagging it for spam? Like, not asking the user why they're flagging it is not a very helpful thing. That is a downvote. That's not a flag. So if you're going to have a flag, there should be some indication to the team that creates the platform, especially, that people are posting content that is not acceptable on this platform for one reason or another. And then I think if they are meant to be treated differently, a flag and a downvote, then they should have different repercussions. So if you downvote something, maybe it doesn't have a huge impact on that reward pool. I understand that there is stake in an upvote, and so there should be stake in a downvote. There's a whole discussion about the voting power, like whether it should be two separate pools of power for up and down votes. I think if you made each individual downvote, simply because it's disagreement, less powerful than an upvote, then it's not so much of an issue. You can have two pools, you can have the same pool, but to downvote it 100%, doesn't actually have as much of an effect as upvoting at 100%, because just because you disagree with something doesn't mean that that thing is not valuable. So I think if you had downvotes only affect value to a small degree, that's fair. And then if you had flags be something that could have a big impact both on monetary rewards as well as reputation, then it would be something, though, that would have to have some amount of moderation. So if one person flags a piece of content and indicates a reason for that, nothing will necessarily occur immediately. Maybe there's a group of people who, can earn rewards through the rewards pool by looking at content that has been flagged, and if they agree with that or disagree, they can flag it or say that flag was, if we think it was made in error. Have a few people moderate flags, basically. And then if something is approved as having been flagged, then that has a big impact on the rewards pool for that post as well as the reputation. And I think that not only prevents a lot of spamming of this feature, but I think it makes for a fairer system of disagreement. So those are my New Year's thoughts. I woke up to talk about negative interactions on the platform. But it was a good thread on the Slack the other day. And yeah, it just was in my mind and I thought I would share it with you guys. So if you enjoy this and you want to see more, then definitely give me a follow. And I will see y'all later on.